we've surfaced a fishing event. If you click on that, you'll get the details of what we think we've detected there. And here's a sample image. That looks pretty blurry to all of us, but to the folks in the space, they can tell a lot from that. We are adding electro-optical, so photographic imagery as well, visual light. Some illegal fishing is done by putting very bright lights on the water, and it tracks the fish and the squid and everything up to the surface. So all of those modes of operation have to be addressed. And then rendezvous between vessels is often an indication of something happening that shouldn't be happening. So we detect those things as well. Let's see, data sources. So again, in contrast to EarthRanger, where one of the big challenges is having the infrastructure, putting the technology out in the space, in the protected area, in the ecosystem. In the marine space, we really have to rely on remote sense data. In 2023, in fact, we just got a partnership, or actually a grant that we're doing in partnership with a couple of organizations to incorporate autonomous underwater vehicles, drones over the ocean, and surface water sail drones technology, and bring that data into Skylight. Up to now, everything has been from satellites. So, again, the vastness of the ocean makes that a really critical. And there's some emerging technologies we're also experimenting with. Again, another gap we can fill is that we're a great place to see how some of these new things, radio frequency, so detecting, people have their cell phones on their ship, they have radar, and they can detect. There's technology emerging to be able to detect that and eventually actually put a signature on a vessel. So we're able to do some experimenting and bring that new technology to addressing illegal fishing. So use cases, you saw a similar diagram just showed this morning in the Skylight case. As I said, we really started with Coast Guards and Navies and their exclusive economic zone. We're also working with regional fisheries and enforcement agencies that coordinate between countries, because of course a lot of this stuff is happening across international boundaries. There's a treaty called the Port States Measures that is intended to help countries when they have ships coming into port to help them identify what vessels should be boarded. They can't board every vessel. You've got thousands of vessels coming into a port a day, which can be picked to actually go and really dig down in. And Skylight's really helpful there, because if we've detected, in fact, South Africa specifically, we've helped them detect vessels that they know are past or likely offenders, and we can give them a heads up, hey, this vessel that's on your list has been transshipping. We can see it in Skylight, and that moves them up with priority to be boarded, and they've actually discovered quite a few infractions and confiscated vessels and issued fines. Fiji Navy, I was there 6 weeks ago. They've also done that and used that very effectively. And as I said, this coming year, we're really going to focus on marine protected areas. The needs are somewhat different there. The agencies are different capacities. Big challenges, because often the capacity to go on the water and do the interdictions resides in the Coast Guards or the Navies, and the park services, the fisheries agencies may not have those assets. So really important to get that cross-agency collaboration, and actually, I guess that won't surprise any of you, Tau and Tuwiri Tau and Napa don't always work well together, and you can do lots of examples there, but we really, Skylight helps enable that collaboration between agencies, and then the national fleets as well. And this is an area where we hope to, in the coming year, start collaborating between Skylight and EarthRanger. There's a gap that exists that no one's really filling. That's probably EarthRanger forward, with Skylight assisting in the coastal use case. So all the illegal fishing I've been talking about, and what Skylight today currently mostly focuses on, are large-scale industrial fleets, very heavy Chinese influence there, but also Spain, Taiwan, South Korea. There are a number of countries that are big in frackers there. And, but that's where the focus has been. But about 40% of all the illegal fishing actually happens by small scale coastal fleets. Much harder to pick up in satellite, but we think we can do something there. And then really critical, and something that EarthRanger does that Skylight does not do, is allow human observed data to be entered and tracked. And we want to marry what Skylight produces through its computer vision analytics and time series machine learning with the EarthRanger capability to record human observed data, bring those two together to fill that gap in coastal management. And I'm already pretty much out of time, so let's skip that. Just to give you an idea, 2.5 years ago when I took lead on Skylight, we had one agency. We were working with the Ghanaian Navy, actually amazing folks. Today we're active in, I think we've hit 50 countries now, 5 regional organizations, and all over the world. I was just in Indonesia and Bali, in Malaysia, met with the Malaysian Coast Guard, the Fiji Navy, amazing folks, and then really Indian Ocean. I believe the Kenyan Coast Guard started using Skylight, and Latin America, growing presence there. Really all over the world. I don't yet have the map that Jess has for EarthRanger, although I've got to get that with the little pins. And some pretty cool places like Palau and like I said, Fiji and some of the Pacific Islands. Yeah, I've covered that. I won't go into to case studies, but we have a lot of great examples of different things we've been able to help with. I mentioned that South Africa, I mentioned Colombia with the cocaine. The Maldives has been incredibly effective. As with EarthRanger, we really need champions in the operating room, in the operations rooms, to really use Skylight effectively. And where those exist, like in the Maldives, there's just tremendous impact. Madagascar, Seychelles, let's see, I'm just going to fly through these. Cabo Verde, so lots of very small places that have massive impact on their economies from the fishing that we've been able to help so far. And I'll just finish very quickly by saying, as with EarthRanger, and really replicated the model that we have with EarthRanger, with the incredible partnerships that we had with African Parks for many 51 Degrees and really County Wildlife Service and really everyone. We've really built out a network of partnerships and worked with other technology providers like Global Fishing Watch. Really, again, like EarthRanger and Smart collaborating. If you're mission driven, that's what makes sense. In this space, everyone asks, well, how are you different than Global Fishing Watch? And it's like, well, actually, we work and collaborate together. In fact, we joined a collaboration that we'll be kicking off. It was announced at UN Ocean Conference, and it's the Joint Analytical Cell. So we're going to be working with them and a small Norwegian NGO that does fantastic work actually here in Africa, and this Joint Analytical Cell to really bring the capacity of all organizations together cohesively to address the issue. I mentioned all of the developed country governments that have these platforms. So that's been a very interesting difference in this space, is working with these platforms built by governments, maintained and run and owned by the governments. The great thing is every one of them is making them available at no cost. So that matches well with what Skylight does. As with EarthRanger, we make Skylight and all of our technology available at no cost to anyone who's mission aligned with what we're doing. The UN Office of Drugs and Crime has a global maritime crime program. They've been really our most important partner. They have a global presence, and they really help build the capacity. We can't go everywhere and train everyone, just as the EarthRanger team can't do that. So we really rely on those partners. We do the trainer program and get them up on Skylight, and then they can go to the Maldives and all these places and train the folks up there. So partnerships tremendously important to delivering. And I think with that, thanks.